What was it like at Amazon for 7 years? I'm always curious. I was reading 2 books right now. One's called In the Plex about Google. Great book, and you kind of figure out how they started. And then one was The Everything Store. And it sounds like a very intense place to work in Amazon. It sounds like you constantly have to prove your worth every month.
To be honest with you, I read those books as well,
okay.
And I did not recognize the company that I worked for in the latter book. Like
okay,
I think he's taken a more dramatic approach to describing the company. I was there. I started in 2000 and when was that? 2005. I was there for 7.5 years. I was actually hired not knowing what I was going to work on. I got hired through a friend of a friend. It's always like that. You find jobs in the Silicon Valley, I find. And he was like, yeah, we're going to build this thing. It's going to be really great, but I can't tell you what it is. And I still took the job. And after day one, they told me that I was going to be working on Kindle. And I was basically employee number 12. Like there were 10 engineers, my boss who ran product, and myself. And I was in charge of thinking about the services side of Kindle. Services meaning like, what can I do when I have a network connection on a little device to buy books? So I was in charge of the store, of the periodicals experience. I spent actually a lot of time in London getting newspaper providers and magazines to be part of the platform when we launched. But so I was, it was a small team. It was a team of 12. We eventually grew to about 100 when we shipped the first device. But it was never a really big team for many years.
Did the iPad exist yet?
The iPad did not exist.
Did not exist.
We were the first device on which you could buy something wirelessly. Like nobody had done that before.
Okay.
It was an incredible place to work. Working with Jeff Bezos is better than business school.
Can you do his laugh?
I can't do his laugh.
Is it really is it maniacal? Is it
he's a really bright person. I learned a lot from him. I was lucky enough to spend quite a lot of time around him. I mean, he's very passionate about Kindle for good reasons, and we had really good discussions around the product, and he was very instrumental in making it what it is today. So 7 years, 7.5 years spent there.
It's a long time.
I would not give away. I mean, I think they were incredible years, like some of the best times in my life. So I really enjoyed it, and I never saw any of the stuff that was described in the book.
What was your biggest takeaway from working on the Kindle for that amount of time, from a product standpoint? What do you think you learned the most?
That's a good question. I think my biggest learning has been that you have to trust people around you, especially the technical team. If you want to make big bets, if you want to take big steps, as I mentioned earlier, you have to think 2 years in advance often for those products. You have to close your eyes and believe it's going to work out, because often we were building breakthrough technologies, like the Paperwhite technology. I don't know if you have a Kindle Paperwhite, I've seen one, but the one with the light that shines from behind. 2 years before, we dreamed that it was possible. We had engineers work on it, and there's times where we're like, "Oh, we're never going to cross the finish line. It's not going to ship." But good engineers can pull magic, and they did. So yeah, trust your surrounding, trust your team that they can do amazing things, and it's going to be all right.
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now.
Many technology entrepreneurs don't know how to pitch their startup, and when you're doing a startup you can't afford expensive PR people and things like that, so you have to pitch the media yourself, and they weren't doing it right. In London you have the financial industry, financial tech industry is very big, you have a fashion industry, it's very big, media is big, arts, culture, you name it. So all these vertical industries are all equally big. Silicon Valley is no longer a place, it's a state of mind. So if you have that state of mind, you can do anything.